Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World, where every word matters. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guests on this next interview. The NATO and Ukraine are set to convene at the ambassadorial level for an emergency meeting of the Ukraine-NATO Council in Brussels on November 26th. This high-stakes discussion follows Russia's recent use of a hypersonic ballistic missile in Ukraine, marking a dangerous escalation in the war. As tensions rise, NATO's response and Ukraine's resilience are in sharp focus. Joining us today on TVP World to unpack this is Olexiy Haran, professor at the National University of Kyiv-Mohyla Academy. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Thank you for the invitation.
First of all, before we start, there's a news about another wave of drones striking Kyiv, and I was just hoping that you're doing okay. Is there power outages? Anything going on over there?
Yes, thank you. I am fine. But actually, Kyiv is bombarded by drones or missiles almost every night. But I must say that actually the air defense around Kyiv is not bad. So most of these drones or missiles are destroyed in the air. That's good. But even debris may create damages to buildings and may kill the people. So we need to take it into account, and definitely we need more air defense systems to defend not only Kyiv but also other Ukrainian cities.
Right, like you mentioned, air defense is very crucial right now. And speaking of air defense and support for Ukraine, we've seen two different meetings that's going to be convened. One with NATO and Ukraine, the meeting on an ambassadorial level that's going to take place on the 26th, as well as the new Group of 5 defense format that has recently been established. When it comes to the largest military spenders, the Group of 5, what do you think this format is aiming to achieve, and do you think it can realistically help Ukraine out in this dire situation?
Well, it was a meeting of and Group of 5 represents the largest, I would say, the largest European countries, and including Poland. And maybe it would create a mechanism which would be quicker than decisions made by NATO. Look, you are talking about NATO-Ukraine Council, which is going to take place today, and we are also waiting for that. But the question is that isn't it too late? Right, because the attack of Russian middle-range missile happened several days ago. So it's good that there are meetings. There would be a meeting between between NATO and Ukraine. But why? I would say a little bit late diplomatically. But I would also stress that the meeting of Europeans, it means that Europe is preparing for the period when Trump will be inaugurated, and there are many questions about American support. We know the statements that were done by Trump during campaign, but we don't know actually what Trump policy will be. Actually, nobody knows. Maybe Trump doesn't know himself what will happen. So I think in this, maybe American support will continue or even increase, but there could be a worse scenario as well. So I think Europe is preparing for that scenario and would like to increase its own defense potential. Now I hear the figures that I'm not sure if they're right, but I hear as they are repeated that, for example, Russia during 3 months produced as much shells as the European Union for the whole year, and it's a dangerous situation. It means that European Union wasn't, as well as the United States, by the way, were not prepared for Russian invasion in 2022, and despite all the efforts, still, EU doesn't have a lot of capacity, so it's necessary to increase these capacities. One more thing is that, Russia has huge support regarding shells from and missiles from North Korea. So again, it means that the defense capacity should be increased. By the way, I would like also to draw attention of your viewers to the term long-range missiles, because we have a lot of talks in the West and international communities that now Ukraine has possibility, was allowed to use long-range American missiles and also Storm Shadow UK, and it's called long-range. Actually, the distance for ATACMS is only 300 kilometers. The middle range missile starts from 1,000 and long range from 5,000 kilometers. And the distance of ATACMS and Storm Shadow is 300 kilometers. So basically it's even less than middle-range missiles. So the question is, why do we follow Russian terminology even while discussing? Because Russia is talking about long-range missiles which are used by Ukraine, which is not true. So let's not repeat what Russian propaganda is saying about that. So again, it's good that we have this decision, to allow Ukraine to use ATACMS, Storm Shadow on the territory of Russia. This is very good, but again, we need more. We do not know exactly, how many missiles of this type Ukraine has so far. We hope it is increasing. There are rumors that it is increasing, but we'll see.
Right. Like I mentioned, when it comes to the attack of missiles, just during the Monday briefing, the NSC spokesperson actually appeared publicly and stated for the first time that U.S. has indeed given Ukraine the green light to use these ATACMS weapons. We've been talking about the use of, like you mentioned, perhaps using the wrong terminology, these long-range missiles to strike inside Russia for a couple of weeks, if not months now. But now that it's been greenlit, do we see any positive change in the front line? Is it going to bring any substantial sort of change, and how's Ukraine actually utilizing them?
Well, there were several facts of Ukraine using these weapons, even before, official confirmation from the United States, but also there were several cases before this official confirmation that Ukraine was allowed, that there were rumors. So basically we had the understanding that finally we received this permission from the United States. Ukraine is using it to attack targets, strategic targets inside Russia, like factories, like air bases. Actually, Ukraine used it also in Kursk Oblast, where there are now battles. Russia is trying, to push Ukrainians out from Kursk region, but it's not. The battle continues actually, and these missiles are important. But again, it's important to have more of them because despite these efforts, Russia is trying to continue the offensive in the Donbass, and they are moving very, very slowly. But they have huge losses in manpower, but they are moving. So again, this capacity should be increased. We should be realistic, that Russia doesn't care about the lives of their soldiers. So they continue this offensive despite huge losses.
Right, and speaking of the increasing the capacity, Putin has framed these missiles and calling it long range and citing it as a reason to use the hypersonic missiles. Do you think that that's going to give the West a little bit of kind of pause when it comes to supplying Ukraine with more attack missiles?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Right, because Putin has been framing these use of these attack missile as the reason that he has fired his hypersonic missile and perhaps even threatening with the use of nuclear arms. Do you think that these kind of messaging will bring a pause to the West's kind of ability to provide Ukraine with these weapons?
Okay, so we need to understand that Putin continues nuclear blackmail, but actually not so regarding Ukraine, but regarding the West. Okay, and his nuclear blackmail started from the very beginning of this full-scale war, so there's nothing new here. And let's remember that Ukraine was bombarded by Iskander missiles for all this time, and Iskander is also able to have nuclear weapons, So this is not new, basically. So definitely Putin is trying to create impression that he may use these weapons. And I think, and actually it was confirmed from politicians and military in NATO that actually if there was no threat of this nuclear attack, NATO may increase its support or even send its soldiers to Ukraine. So the West cares about it. I would say that Putin's blackmail works to some extent. But regarding the troops in Ukraine, I think that we understand that it's not realistic to see the troops from European countries which are fighting on the front line. No, this is not the case. But there were discussion, and Ukraine is also discussing the possibility that these troops may be sent to Belarus-Ukrainian border, and this would be very, very important for Ukraine, because it would mean that Ukraine may take its own forces which are now situated on the border with Belarus and use them at the front line. So this would be a huge help to Ukraine. Again, whether Western countries or some of them, like France, will do that, so we don't know. I believe there are some close discussions about it.
We'll still have to observe and see how that develops. But in the meantime, thank you so much for all your input and insight. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being with us on TVP World, and please stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. And thank you for watching this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.